This is Professor Ipuranjan Sinha, Professor Information and Communication Technology, promoter global innovation, peace, prosperity, and sustainable development. Today, we are celebrating International Peace Day, and I am proposing Sustainable World Prosperity Framework for the global innovation, peace, and sustainable development. So, first of all, I would like to thanks Professor who invited me and give the platform to present our view about the sustainable world prosperity framework for the global innovation, peace, prosperity, and sustainable development. So, in this context, we are just proposing a model of the sustained world philosophy where we contend the eight strategical agenda for the sustained world prosperity framework, that is the eradication of social evils, peace centric framework, prosperity mindset, innovation cycle, sustainable innovation and research and development framework, performance monitoring, zero tolerance zones, and people regulatory framework. So, in this context, we are just going to explain the way of the sustained world philosophy. And another thing is that, so let's understand the fact about that historical journey of our civilization. We are not new. We are in journey of human race as a traveler. So Earth is estimated to be 4.54 billion years old, plus or minus about 50 million years. Scientists have secured the Earth searching for the oldest rocks to the radiometrically date. In northwestern Canada, they discovered rocks about 4.3 billion years old. Then in Australia, they discovered mineral about 4.3 billion years old. Researchers know that rocks are continuously recycling due to the rock cycles, so they continue to search for the data elsewhere. Since it is throughout the body in the solar system may have formed at a similar time. Scientists analyzed moon rocks collected during the moon landing and even meteorites that have crash landed on Earth. Both of this material dated to between 4.4 and 4.5 million years, while the earliest hominids or human-like species first appeared around 2 million ago. Early Homo sapiens or modern humans are relatively young. They first appeared in Africa around 200 and 200 to 00 years. For thousands of years after the Homo sapiens first appeared, early man laid the foundation for what would eventually become human civilization by the developing agriculture, puberty, art, social status, and etc. In this context, the Mesopotamia are typically considered the very first urban civilization in the world. Several earlier peoples developed complex society and culture that can also be classified as a civilization as most advanced ancient civilization in the world. That is, ancient civilization China 2100 to 221 BC, along with the four great inventions of the ancient China, that is printing, paper making, the compass, the gunpowder. The ancient Chinese have also been credited with the invention ranging from the kites to toilet papers. The first recorded observation of the solar eclipse and comet were also made in China. The Chinese brought timekeeping into our life through the shadow clocks. Forerunner of the sundial, which first appeared in China around 2500 years ago. The crossbow was also developed by the Qin dynasty, which later became the main weapon of European warfare. Earth is estimated to be the 4 years radiation, and in these cases, we are just saying that another ancient Egypt civilization, that is a second civilization, that ancient Egypt civilization, that is going to 3150 to 331 BC. The ancient Egyptian are the renowned for the being advanced in area such as math and architecture, but did not know that they were forward thinking in the field of medicine too. Parasites, disease, and the malaria were prevalent with the harsh living and working conditions near the river Nile, with the added danger of crocodiles and hippos. There is evidence that the ancient Egyptians had knowledge of anatomy, injuries, and practical treatment, with wound being treated by the bonding with raw meats, optimum being used for the pain relief, and linen soaked in honey to stop infection. Ancient Egyptian surgeons were able to set broken bones and stitch wounds, and garlics and onion were used for the good health, a traditional that has continued to this day. Ancient Egypt was also ahead of their time with regard to gender equality. They view all men and women, apart from the slaves, as equal before the law. Egyptian women has significantly more choice and opportunity than many of the more modern society of the period. Two prevalent examples being the female pharaoh Hatshepsut and Cleopatra. Third is the Inca civilization, that is 1200 to 1542 AD, that is modern day Peru. From their capital of Cusco, Peru, the Incas conquered an empire reaching from the southern Colombia to central Chile, and the road they built created the most sophisticated and extensive transportation system in the pre-Columbian South America. On part of this ancient road is the Inca Trail leading to Machu Picchu. Whether they reach by train, the easy way, or via the Inca train on 2-3 day trip, the tiring way. Seeing Machu Picchu up close is an essential experience for any modern day Southern American adventure. If you want to complete the trek, you had better be quick through, with the trekking number strictly limited by the government and rumors that it may be closed to the public in the future. Time may be running out to complete a pilgrimage to these great archaeological sites. Fourth is the biggest ancient Greek, that is 800 BC to 146 BC. Allowed well known for their the sophistication in architecture, math, and astrology, the ancient Greek took great stride in the literary world too. Playwrights as well as invented drama through the idea of dialogue. Sophocles is created with the developing irony as a literary technique. The efficient use play to challenge social norms, something that has continued to the present day. Next is the Maya civilization, that is 2000 BC, early 16th century. Modern day Mexico, village Guatemala, El Salvador, and Honduras refers to the blockbuster disaster film 2012. The Maya are well known for being brilliant astrologists and outstanding mathematicians, credited with the invention of zero and measuring the length of the solar year with great accuracy. What is less well known is that sophistication of the method they use to produce food, with permanent rice field, wild harvesting, forest gardens, and tracing supporting the population, practice that modern day Maya people continue today. If you would like to check out some Maya archaeological sites, Palenques in Mexico, Tikal in Guatemala, and Capon in Western Honduras are well worth to visit. Next important civilization is the Osirian civilization, that is modern day Mediterranean. With around 200 known sunken cities in the Mediterranean, we know that the Osirian civilization from the time of Atlantis and Rama was extremely technological advanced, with the megalithic structure comprised of very large stone that were earthquake proof and evidence of electricity. An advanced, awesome example of the advanced technology is the Osirian platform found at Belbek, Lebanon, made of the individual stone, some of which are nearly 100 feet long and are estimated to weigh up to 1,500 tons each. There are multiple theories about how these stones might have been moved from using wooden roller to flippers of walls. So, in this context, Rama Empire, that is 10,000 to 2500 BC, that is modern day India and Pakistan. Over the last 100 years, the city of Harappa and Mohenjo-daro, Mound of the Dead, have been discovered in modern day Pakistan. in the Indus Valley. But what made this ancient civilization so advanced? Archaeologists believe that these cities were conceived in their entirely before being built, demonstrating an incredibly advanced example of early city planning. Even more incredible is that sewage system found in these ancient cities was actually superior to that found in the Pakistan, India, and many more Asian countries today. The basic motto of writing this philosophy is that from long time we all are fighting from the social and political enable issue, but unable to find the right path for this sustained world where innovation, peace, prosperity, and sustainable development must be a prime concern for the upliftment of human journey and the accomplishment of life successfully. For the accomplishment of this life journey of individuals, groups, and other creatures totally dependent on the brain program of our God, best creature that is on of them human. And best human are those who understand the value of people and other creatures, group of people, and also respect our mother nature with proper utilization of mother nature with restoration, purification of men for our Panchbhuta, that is air, water, land, sky, or fire. The philosophy of Panchbhuta with the in line with the Indian Vedic system as well as dependent on the Vedic system of human beings. So here, as a professor, Professor Ripuranjan Sinha proposed the sustained world prosperity development framework philosophy entirely depend on the eradication principle of the social and economic journey of the human social life from various social evils, peace enables service with optimized conflict with ethics. Human race motto must be prosperity development among the society with social innovation cycle, sustained development strategy, performance monitoring of all social and personal action and activities. Some profession or activity must be in the zero tolerance zone under the preview of the people regulatory framework. In this philosophy framework, Professor Sinha divided an expanding part in the eradication of social evil, peace centric framework, prosperity mindset framework, creation about citizen, innovation cycle, sustainable development strategy, performance monitoring, zero tolerance zone of the services, and people regulatory framework. This philosophy may be utilized for the upliftment of the society, establishment of mechanisms for global innovation, peace, prosperity, and sustainable development among society and social race upgradation. So let's start from the first, that is the eradication of social evils. No matter how advanced the country has become, there are many factors that need attention. There are many social evils destroying the planet at such a fast pace that if you do not look after it, it will be too late. Dig into the blog and check out the social evil that society has to fight for its own betterment and a safe and secure future. Here I am just considering five top social evils in our society. That number one, that is women safety. No wonder why this is an utmost essential issue in India and rest of the world. There have been cases people cannot forget when it comes to rape, molestation, domestic violence, and whatnot. Are the women really safe if they step out? The answer is very much clear. No, you cannot always depend on the government to bring a change. Being an individual, we have the right to stand up for the right and raise our voice when needed. Stop teaching Teach your daughter how to behave outside, what to wear, and how to talk at the rise up your sons so well that they protect the women upstairs. Make India as a country where women do not fear man when see on the street, rather feel safe and secure. Second is the very important social evil is that it's literacy. The country cannot really be termed as a developed country when there are so many sectors that are not looked after. Illiteracy has been one issue that is changing its better way, but at such a slow pace. It is one issue that can increase the other evils like poverty, unemployment, poor population, trust, and so on. India has been dealing with the literacy since independence, but the effort really need to be strong enough to eradicate this social evil as soon as. Third, very important social evils is that pollution. It is not just the water that has turned back from the blue, but also the air that we breathe. No matter how hard we try to clean the water and air, it will be no use at all. We strongly need to stop abusing natural resources and be strict towards utilizing them effectively and efficiently enough. Excessive usage of chemicals, plastic, disposals of waste on road and river is simply destroying the our ecosystem. If we continue to do so, there will be a time where no effort, new technique or method would help us to undo all the action towards making the planet a place we won't never want our generation to live. Fourth, social eradication, social evils that shaming. Shaming has been an issue in talk that are being noticed this day. Starting from the body shaming to victim shaming, people think it is their right to judge the other person according to their low standard mentality. People are being shamed for their body or the brave victim of molestation if they share their experience. If we are intellectual enough, we really need to stop such prevent to clearly are not illiterate enough to understand about personal choice. Fifth, social is the hygiene and sanitation. Hygiene and sanitation are something that is the mandatory parts of your routine and should not be neglected at all. It is a right of every citizen of the country, but unfortunately, India has not been able to handle this issue well. According to the facts, it is estimated that over 80% of households have a mobile phone, but over 730 million people in India still do not have access to clean sanitation and toilets. No wonder why the country might face serious environmental and health hazards in the future. If everyone individual decide to make a change from their side, there will be no such social evil in the country anymore. For the same, we need to frame awareness to uplift society. As a nation, we need to fight this social evil for the betterment of our own self and also the upcoming generation. Indian Vice President of India, M. Venkaiah Naidu, has already urged you to participate in a big way to eradicate social evils, poverty, illiteracy. He also asked them to be in the forefront in the eliminating casteism and religious fundamentalism. Delivering the first Professor Yashwantrao Kelkar Memorial Lecture in Mumbai, he pointed out that the country was facing challenge on different fronts. About 20% of population was still living the poverty and equal percent of people were literate. M. Naidu cited instances of social, gender discrimination and autocracy against women, corruption, casteism, and religious fundamentalism as some of the challenge. On the external front, India was constantly facing the problem of cross-border terrorism. He added, studying the need for promoting a nationalistic outlook among the youth and involving them in constructive nation building activity. He said, all of us must strive to build a new India that is free of poverty, hunger, discrimination, and inequality based on the caste, creed, and gender. The vice president advised student organizations such as Vidyapati Parishad to instill the feeling of nation first among the youth and encourage them to actively participate in national development. He called upon the youth to work with the missionary zeal and determination to transform India into a prosperous and happy nation, stating that India has a great demographic dividend with more than 65% of its population below the age of 35 years. The vice president stressed the need of the impart knowledge and skill to youth for effectively meeting the challenge of technology driven of 21st century. Observing that this was the age of innovation, incubation, and start, he called for tapping the entrepreneurial potential among the youth of the country, stating that changing the face of our rural and backward village was essential for inclusive development. The vice president said that the critical challenge was deeply the best possible idea in the innovation led development of the rural area of the nation, where 60% of the population lives. Professor Sinha stated as a, all socially will need to work out and eradicate with the mindset of the establishment of peace-centric framework among people and society too. Second important part of the sustainable philosophy we given, that is a peace-centric framework, conflicts, argument, and change are natural parts of our lives as well as their life of every agency, organization, or nation. Conflict resolution is a way for the two or more party to find a peaceful solution to a disagreement among them. The disagreement may be personal, financial, political, or emotional. When a dispute arises, often the best course of action is negotiation to resolve the disagreement. The goal of negotiation are to produce a solution that all parties can agree to work as quickly as possible to find out the solution. To improve, not hurt, the relationship between the group in conflict. Conflict resolution through the negotiation can be good for all parties involved. Often, each side will get more by participating in negotiation than they would be walking away, and it can be way for your group to get resource that might otherwise be out of reach. The main goal of negotiation must be with your opposition is to come to an agreement that benefit all parties. Some other good reason to negotiate are to understand more about those whose ideas, beliefs, and background may be different from your own. In order to resolve a conflict, you will need to look at the conflict from our opponent view of view, point of view and learn more about this person or group perspective and motivation to ensure that your relationship with opponent continue and grow. If you make peace with your opponent, you increase your own allies in the community. Successful negotiation pave the way for a smooth relationship and future. To find out peaceful solution to difficult situation, full blown battles, use of resources, time, energy, good reputation, motivation. By negotiating, you avoid wasting these straws and you may actually make new allies and find new resources. So, conflict resolution is appropriate for almost any disagreement. But for more serious conflict and conflict between group rather than individual, you may need some additional skill. The conflict resolution process will divide it into 7 steps to successfully negotiating the resolution of the conflict. First, understand the conflict. Second, communicate with the opposition. Third, brainstorm possible resolutions. Fourth is choose the best resolution. Use Fifth is use a third party mediator. Sixth, explore alternative. Seven, cope with the successful situation and pressure tactics. Across the world, judicial system is available and it need to be reformed for the mechanisms to resolve the pendency of case, corruption in the report fabrication, lack of transparency in the appointment of justice and the trial of all users, and lack of information and interaction among people and courts. We also need to frame mature brain who must have the power of observation as well as the authenticity of document submitted at a judicial trial. Especially the Indian judicial system is one of the oldest legal system and still follow the feature inherited from the British judicial system. We have an adversarial system and less infrastructure also as per data in India. First judge for the one judge for the 73,000 people, which is 7 times more than in USA. If the present rate of disposal condition, civil case would never be disposed and the criminal case will take more than 30 years. We need to be aware that we all are the temporary and we are in the race for the betterment of the people, power and practice. But it may be possible if we need to frame prosperity, fairness and development strategy effectively in our daily life, offer plenty of opportunity for negotiation between parents and children, co-worker, friends, and as a result, you probably already have a variety of effective strategy for resolving minor conflicts. Third important framework agenda is the prosperity development. So helping people and provide fundamental learning for all, including communication aids, data analyzing, people behavior and need alliances management tuned with the prosperity development and inclusive growth of the society. Prosperity framework provide fundamental learning for all that can be used to track the success of people learning in families, communities, and public institutions in developing citizen cognitive skills and their social, emotional, physical, and spiritual well-being. As the president of the Innovation Society of India, International Association of Sports and ICT, Asia Africa Development Council, managed by Council for Sustainable Peace and Development, India, I am often invited to share ideas about the school, college, university, and social reform. During the research trip to Sri Lanka, Dubai, I found discussion focused on holistic improvement as well as space depth. The conversation was illuminating because the policymaker in that room, like so many other around the globe, had the best intention but were nevertheless stuck in the models that had them looking in the wrong place. The prosperity framework is built on their three interconnected premises. The first is that early readings need to be primary focus of learning monitoring system. The reason is simple. Literature is a prerequisite for later success in lower and upper secondary level and provide a scaffolding for developing so many other skills, including numeracy, problem solving, and social emotional know-how. Indeed, a failure to develop a strong skill during the early years increase the risk of school failures. Second, to better capture school effect, we can build informative educational monitoring system which incorporate the finding of over 20 years of research on the causal factor that lead to be better student outcome. Third, results from the international studies need to be coupled with the national study and a small control experimental study which can provide educational administrator with information for setting achieved goals, allocating resource and collecting policy for the same. We didn't need to keep gather data on things we already know and still. So focus on the small scale testing of reform and study that focus on a small number of factors we need to be measured these in greater detail while tracking them individually. To be clear, I am not calling for the abandonment of the large scale international study. The world faced its harshest education crisis in the second year of the COVID-19 pandemic has closed school and record number of children fall behind the learning. As country address the pandemic, they also have a unique opportunity to accelerate their own progress in building more equitable and resilient education system. UNICEF highlighted the importance of the universal access to quality digital learning as a way to address the learning crisis and modernize education system globally. Through the Remittance Education Initiative, the agency will connect 500 modern million children and young people to the internet and digital learning in 2021. The average child and young person by 2030. We have a once generation opportunity to resume education. UNICEF Executive Director Heritha at Effort said, reaching every children and young person by 2030 will require commitment and creativity. Most of all, it will require partnership. UNICEF is cited to be working with the World Bank and other partners to support accelerated country as they establish ambitious new reading target and scale up program to build the foundational skills that children and young people need to realize their potential. We must accelerate improvement in learning and center reform around what is best for the student, giving children the foundational skill to become paramount learner and productive citizens, said Sabetra. Countries have the opportunity through the accelerator program to build the foundation of the learning of the future. Fourth is the innovation cycle. Innovation is the prime concern for any development and cycle growth, and the innovation can create vibrant ecosystem to the nurture, encourage, promote, facilitate, and support research, innovation, and product development for the rapid, inclusive, and sustainable growth of the country. Technological change through innovation and research and development have been the main driving force for the increased productivity, economic growth, social transformation, and reshaping and redefining almost every aspect of our life and environment. Technological leadership is one of the major factors in achieving goal leadership economically, politically, and socially. The information and communications technology and electronics is the world's largest and fastest growing industry and is increasing finding application in all sectors of economy, which is impact in raising productivity, increase efficiency in delivery of the services, and improving lifestyle. It has become accepted as a key enabler in development and is gradually being accepted as a meta resource. The competitiveness of the various industry is increasing being determined by their ability to integrate ICT in their business process. India's strength in information technology industry has played a key role in putting it on the global map in the relatively short time. India has had a profound effect on the global software industry from the modest beginning with the low end activities like code testing and bug fixing to system building. The IT industry continued to be one of the sunshine industry of the Indian economy, showing rapid growth and promise that and this advantage need to be systematically nurtured, maintained, and enhanced so as to catapult the country into area of high volume addition. As a promoter of the global innovation, peace, and prosperity development, and a strong background of information and communication training and advises services to the ICT company worldwide for the developing new products, solution, and service with a view to monetize the intellectual property. To be referred to here as a product development need to be the strategy of Indian IT industry. While promoting IT for the export market is obviously important, it is equally important to address domestic requirement and domestic social changes. In order to promote an inclusive, vibrant, and sustainable ecosystem for the research and development and innovation, government, industry, NGO, and academia have to work together on a common platform to find solutions for the growing societal need and challenge. We require a strong research ecosystem consisting of a governmental support, right policy, strategic framework, private industry participation, encourage startup and SME, academics and industrial research institution, and pool of talented researchers. And we already framed organization and supporting the mission with the World Academy of Informatics and Management Sciences and Innovation Society of India. The expenditure of the research and development in India is about 0.9% of the GDP, while in the most developed country is at 2.4% of the GDP. Globally, the share of private sector research and development organization expenditure is about 70%, while India it is about 30%. Here in India, we have taken various initiatives toward the promotion of research and development in the different area of ICT, including communication, convergence, and broadband technology, microelectronics, VLSI, nanotechnology, electronic materials, industrial electronics, high performance computing, networking, cybersecurity, medical electronics, strategic electronics, radio frequency, microwaves, and millimeter technology, free and open source software, language computing, and development of technology for the common end, and for the betterment of global mankind and development through the sustained world research and development framework. So our next agenda and framework parameter is the sustained research and development framework. Sustained research and development for the nation. The purpose of this sustained research and development framework is to bridge the current gap in the sustained research and development ecosystem and take it in the next level of development. Through this sustained research and development framework, our aim must be to identify innovation required for the country development, harmonize the ongoing effort by the focusing on the essential priority of the various sector, and to give the strategic direction and focus to research and development. The vision of the Sustainable Research and Development Framework must be to attain global leadership in the ICT sector by building a vibrant ecosystem to nurture, encourage, promote, facilitate, and support research, innovation, and product development for the rapid, inclusive, and sustainable growth of the country. And mission must be to develop an effective and efficient research and development ecosystem by channelizing the research effort and resource into priority sector of the economy and by achieving excellence in ensuring that these effects lead to design development and manufacture of the high quality world class product in the ICT and E sector providing significant value addition to the economy. The scope of sustainable research and development framework encompasses the entire research and development life cycle, comprising of the stage like the need assessment and idea generation, project and program formulation, research and innovation, developing the proof of concept, prototype and field testing, product development, technology transfer for the commercialization system. Next agenda is that performance monitoring. Monitoring and evaluation is a continuous management function to assess if progress is made in achieving expected result, to spot bottleneck in implementation and to highlight whether there are many intended effort, positive or negative, from the investment plan, program or projects and its achieve activity. We need to frame policy for effective monitoring and evaluation, not for exploitation mindset, while as exploration mindset. In this framework, we need to design a model for the performance monitoring mechanism in village, block, districts, state, and over the country process, practices, and product design and development mechanism. Next, very important agenda is that proposed by the Professor Ripuranjan Sinha, that is the zero tolerance zone. People centric service product practices must be in zero tolerance zone, including education, medical, judiciary, justice, and administration. New standard on the zero tolerance New standard on zero tolerance to corruption will help to unlock potential of the public-private partnership for achieving and sustainable development goals. As a new standard on zero tolerance to corruption in public-private partnership developed by UNECE will help to catalyze countries' effort to sustain transparency, accountability, and effective governance of investment in the public infrastructure and service delivery, which will be key achieving the sustainable development goals. Corruption continues constitute a major barrier to economic development and significantly undermine the implementation of UN 2030 agenda for the sustainable development. It presents a particular challenge to investment in infrastructure, for which SDG identified financing in the form of PPP as essential in order to fill the essential 3.3 trillion USD per year investment gap worldwide. OECD estimate that a bribery consumes 10.9% of the total transaction value in the public procurement globally, while Transparency International has estimated the corruption in constructed could add as much 50% of the project cost. It further estimates that 10 to 30% of the investment in the publicly funded construction project might be lost through the mismanagement or corruption. The new international standard of the zero tolerance to corruption in PPEs adopted the intergovernment session of Initiative Working Party on the PPP on 2nd November 2070. That aim is to improve governance, reduce risk, and therefore cost, and strengthen trust and accountability in PP procurement. The standard will not only help to save money but also foster sustainable partnership between government and private sector. A decision, national PP units and infrastructure agency from 43 countries in Europe, Africa, Asia, Latin America, North America, and Middle East have signed a declaration in support of SDG, aiming to ensure transparency, inclusiveness, access, equity, and a people-first approach in PPP, including commitment to the implementation of standard. Country further underlined the need to ensure that active involvement of multilateral development bank, private sector, civil society, and intergovernment body in advancing its use. UNICEF's Executive Secretary Olan this stated, scaling of investment in key infrastructure will be essential to meet the administrative objective of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Country adoption of the standard on the zero tolerance to corruption in PP service as a powerful symbol of their commitment to building sustainable partnership and determined by the accountability and good governance in the financing of the vital public sector organizations. The standard include principle and recommendation on PPP procurement that can incorporate within the national legal and administrative system to facilitate compliance with the standard governance may consider making its condition binding and subject to judicial or administrative review for all private sector involved, imposing penalty in case of abolition. Above all, the standard will help country put this commitment into action thanks to the consent roadmap for implementation, providing guidance on the tackling corruption and improving effective coordination at all stages of PPP procurement from the conceptual phase to the building contract finalization, and performance monitoring. The standard recommendation have been developed in response of the key challenge facing government in navigating successful PPP procurement while included among the Australia's voters. And the standard comes on the latest development of UNICEF work in the promote people first PPP, which stress the value of social and environment sustainability considering addition of financial criteria in PPP procurement. So in these cases, next very important that is that people regulatory governance. Dictatorship, democracy, executive board people must focus on the social upliftment only in the regions, regionals and country or territory. No other involvement permitted to this regulatory framework. Governance, risk management, and compliances is the term governing on the organization approach across these three practices: governance, risk management, and compliances. The integrated collection of capability that enable an organization to reliably achieve objective, address uncertainty, act with the integrity. The research refer to the common, keep the company on a track, activate conduct on the department such as internal audit, compliances, risk, legal, finance, IT, human resource, as well as the lines of the business, executive suits and board people. Governance, risk management, and compliances are the three related facets that aim to assure the organization reliably achieve objective at the uncertainty and act with the integrity. So, as a GRC program can be instituted to focus on any individual area within the enterprise, or fully integrated GRC is able to work across all area of the enterprise using single framework. A fully integrated GRC uses a single core set of control materials mapped to all of the primary governance factors being monitored. The use of single framework also has the benefit of reducing the possibility of duplicated remedial action. When reviewing the individual GRC area, the three most common individual headings are considered to be financial GRC, IT GRC, and legal GRC. So, in summary, as we all are the traveler, and what we are doing is for the betterment of social, political, and economical entities. Now, question is that if we all are traveler and want to accomplish our journey with the dignity, respect, with ethics to our regulatory body or constitution, unfortunately, our regulatory body or institution are involved in the various malpractice of society, then how do we expect that people who need to follow the directive will follow the guideline or directive as per the constitution? If they will not follow, then you will tell you are the criminal under the IPC or whatever charge may be. That's why we need to a prosperity framework for the sustained world. Let promote is to seek of the social upliftment and human and humanities development. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. So you are just watching Sustained World Prosperity Framework that was proposed by Professor Ripu Ranjan Sinha. Professor Ripu Ranjan Sinha is the Professor of Information and Communication Technology, promoter global innovation, peace, prosperity, and sustainable development. He is the country director and regional director Asia, United Nations Sustainable Development Agenda Goal Network. He is the director general of Asia Africa Development Council, Council for Sustainable Peace and Development. He is the president of Innovation Society of India. He is the president of International Association of Sports and ICT. He is the member of the Global Innovation, Peace and Prosperity Development. He is the Vice Chancellor of the West Coast International University, United States of America. He is the Pro Vice Chancellor of Commonwealth Vocational University, Kingdom of Tonga. He is also working in the development consultant for the Republic of South Sudan, as well as continuously supporting the mission of the global innovation, peace and prosperity development as a development consultant for the Republic of South Sudan. Thank you very much. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.